We understand the problem. All small business owners during a recession want to pull back, and that's what you're going to naturally do. But guess what? Stick with us today, and we're going to show you how to come out on top by reinvesting and spending when others aren't. Hey, welcome back to Blunt Force Business. I'm Brian Lafauci.
And I'm Patrick Marino.
And today we are talking about recession.
Ooh.
Everyone hits off right there. like Kendrick Lamar, turn the TV off. Recession. We got a blunt force fact for him for today.
We always do.
One of my most favoriteest blunt force facts of all time. Scared money don't make no money.
Yeah, so when you're looking, usually what happens is you start hearing about the flashing indicators of the downturn, right? And people stop spending money. The consumer indexes all go down, right? People aren't going to be spending as much money anymore. And I think most small business owners start to think, oh, I got to not spend any more money. Like I turn off all the Google ads, turn off the Facebook ads, stop spending. But the reality is that I think most successful business owners I know usually increase their investment during a recession or a downturn because there are fewer customers spending money. More competition means you have to be out there more, not less, because you're all fighting for the same few people. So that's, scared money don't make money, right?
Yeah, and what's interesting is if we go in the way back machine, there was this thing called COVID a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away that happened. But if you look at some of the trends, and the reason why I think this is a great topic is some bigger companies tend to do things a little bit differently. And what they'll do during those times is instead of investing in themselves, they will they'll do stuff like buy back stock or pay dividends to, keep their shareholders happy, which is interesting because keeping your shareholders happy is kind of, from a smaller business standpoint, it's kind of what we're talking about. Same thing. It's just a way to make everybody happy, right? Yeah. Don't go anywhere. Don't pull your stock. We still need you to be invested in us. We're going to maybe hold on this here, but we're still going to kick money out there. We're just going to give it back to you, right? And give it back to our shareholders.
Actually, as you bring that up, I didn't even think about this. I don't even have this in my notes, but one of the things I was thinking about is that investing in your customers could be something like giving them a loyalty or a VIP promotion.
Yes.
Which is an investment from us, right? So whenever you're giving somebody a discount, that's us putting money into those people, right? So we're spending money. If we're discounting, we're making less. That means we're spending that money, right? It's a cost.
Yeah.
Discount is a cost of doing business.
Right.
So we could be doing is say, okay, look, we could even launch a campaign of some sort. So you remember the movie Mr. Mom?
I do.
Michael Keaton.
Keaton.
Terry Garr.
Yeah.
That was the campaign, Schooner Tuna, right? It was like when things aren't looking great. We know you got a little bit less money. We're going to lower our prices. So that is an investment in marketing whenever we discount, right? Yeah. So that could be a thing, reach out and say, look, you don't have to, what you don't want to do, I don't think, is you don't want to scare people and say, oh, recession's coming.
Yeah.
Because people might not be thinking that way.
All you got to do is turn on
But
TV,
you just got to be like, hey, look, we know that times might be tough for you. You know what I mean? Because of that, we're lowering our subscription cost for the next, 10 days. If you subscribe to our product right now, monthly subscription, we're lower the price for, 15%, some amount, and you'll be able to get that lower price forever if you subscribe right now.
Fantastic marketing. Yeah. Really fantastic. So let's jump back a little bit and let's kind of start with how you prep up for this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easy to say, we can sit here and say, all right, recession time, reinvest in your people, right? Reinvest in, and we'll talk a little bit about how to really target those, start with the customers you got, right? And really target them and get them to make sure they're staying engaged with you. But to do that and to get there, we got to kind of start at the beginning during a time when things are great.
Yeah.
And when do people go for a loan, a line of credit? When do they go for it?
When they're in trouble? When they're having trouble paying bills?
Absolutely, when they need it, right? This is everybody. This is us personally. This is businesses.
So it's payday loans?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So we think to ourselves, oh, I want to do this next project, or, oh, shit, our cash flow's a little tight. So we go online or we call our bank and like, hey, can I get a line of credit? The absolute worst time to do it. So the key is when you're looking at your balance sheet and your credit scores gets to like a good point and your cash flush, that is the time, and any good CFO or accountant is going to tell you this. You know what you should do right now? You should pull lines of credit. You should get them available, like you prepare for a rainy day. Because the more you can do that, the more you'll be in a position when everyone else does what they do, and they're going to turtle, right? They're going to turtle in and choose to not spend money. You are now in a liquidity position to engage. Grab customers that were maybe somewhere else, and they see that that their people are quiet, and you can look over here, right? Look over here. Well, look what we got. Look how we care about you. And look, I loved what you said about kind of offering this little promo or discount. And if you did ever listen to our program that we did, our Grow Hard program, we back into the discount by starting with the price raise, right? Yeah. So. But now everyone feels like, oh, what a kind company, and you can be kind, but you've also prepared for that.
Yeah, for sure. Moment. I mean, like obviously, if you've been raising your prices regularly, like we suggest you do, then offering a discount during a difficult time for your customers is easy. It's swallowable. We can digest that.
Right.
But that's why So obviously, if you are in a good time right now and the economy is going great and customers are spending money like crazy, this is the time to be prepared for the next downturn. But let's say we're like most business owners and we have not done that. Maybe we should talk about some strategies of what to do now that we have not done a great job of preparing. Not to saying we don't have the money to do this, but that I think that most business owners aren't, especially small business owners, they're not doing this work ahead of time that we should be doing. So absolutely get prepared if you're in a good time.
Yep.
Right? Have a line of credit prepared.
Yep.
Right? Be ready for that. Have money to reinvest into the company if you're going to need it down the line. Have a good cash flow. Have cash on hand. Cash on hand and credit. Mm-hmm. Those are things you want at all times. So do that right now. But downturn's coming and maybe we haven't necessarily done that. Maybe some strategies that we can use right now.
So we may have to make some cuts.
Yep.
Right. So we might have to kind of put ourselves in a little better month over month cash position.
Right.
And
maybe you should talk about something that you did recently.
Okay. I've done a lot of things
Especially
recently.
for cuts.
My subscriptions.
Yeah.
Oh, that was actually a great example. Let me jump in the point and then I'll go back to that one.
Yeah.
So where we want your global focus to be is if you're making the cuts, don't start with outreach and marketing, right? Because that's going to be the low-hanging fruit. You're like, I'm just going to cut our spending here, right? And
the first thing is always like, turn off Google Ads.
Yeah.
Turn them off. Turn off the Facebook advertising.
Slow down and breathe, right? We recently onboarded a new system that we're going to use that our listeners will be directed to probably in the very, very near future for a bunch of our stuff. And I was looking at the subscription cost of it. I'm like, all right. And I said, this might be a good time for me to do a subscription reevaluation. As a business owner, if you haven't done a subscription reevaluation, one of the great tools for that is Rocket Money. Promo to Rocket Money there. I thought they were
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor yet. But really made it easy for me to just lay it out all. And then I showed my family. And I have my notebook that I always, do all my stuff in. And I opened it up and I had 2 pages, full pages. I'm like, do you know what this is? And we were at dinner and they're like, no, what is that? I'm like, that is all the subscriptions that we have both through my companies and personally. And they're like, no way. Like, yes way. Yes way. That was the argument. No way. Yes way. No way. Yes way. 2 full pages. 10 font, almost 10 font written, like small. And I said, all right, let's look at this. And then I kind of took the approach of being a little strategic with it. And are there any of these subscriptions that offer a service that maybe this other subscription does too, that I'm paying for, they could roll, trying to like, and I found a ton of that. And I found spaces where, I told you this one, the one that blew my mind. There was a $50 a month MailChimp subscription that I thought was paying for our blunt force business. And you quickly said to me, nope, that's coming out of this account. And I went back. I must have paid $600 in that.
That's
before,
crazy.
Yeah, before even noticing it. So the subscription thing, it's a great,
the ones that
start.
I find are the ones that kind of sneak up on you are especially software related or service related that you sign up for, that are either free trials,
yes,
or discounted early, right? Where it's like if you join right now, the first 6 months are discounted, or the first 3 months are free, and then before you know it, you've paid 3 months out of your pocket.
Right.
That's one of them. Or the other ones that sneak up, I think, are the ones where you save by doing an annual, because that's not hitting every month. You're not seeing it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the following quarter two comes around. Usually, for some reason, like most of mine comes quarter two, April and May. I have a ton of stuff that comes out in April and May. But there's stuff I don't use anymore. And then once it comes out, like that's it. It's like I haven't used it in 5 months, but the annual is coming up in May and I forget about it.
Right.
The annual ones, you have to, if you're going to cut this, you have to go year.
Yes.
Look at your year.
Yes. What I liked about Rocket Mortgage is it does, it grabs the dates when things are hitting. So it has some built-in AI and it kind of shows you these are monthly. This is when they come out. This one seems to be yearly, and it gives you hey, next month, here's what's coming out. You still want that stuff, right? So not to get too far down that rabbit hole, but the subscription one was a really great way. I think when it was all said and done, we ended up cutting probably close to $300 a month without losing anything. Restructuring a couple things, leveraging things I'm already paying for. For example, our cell phone bill came with some free subscriptions included in it, and we were taking advantage of some of those, but there was like one or two where I was able to drop other things and just pull from the those like benefits you get that those companies give.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think that the other thing that you probably want to maybe think about cutting would be contract relationships. Because I think what we're saying is that you really want to make sure that you are not cutting back on marketing or product, but maybe now's the time to cut back on people.
Yeah, where to save.
Workforce.
Yep.
I mean, because I think that more people are likely to cut back on the marketing and not the workforce.
Yeah.
Like now's the time to reevaluate all those contracts. What can you get out of? Can you pause stuff? What can you pause? Pause this. We're not going to need you.
Can you restructure them?
Yeah.
Right? Can you restructure the way you're paying people so that it does kind of maybe flatline a little bit of your a little bit of the expenses that are going out? I know for us with our consulting, we have these really high peaks and valleys with some of our contractors because there's a lot of our programs that we run start at all the same time. And so because they start at the same time, the money that goes out and they end at the same time, the money that goes out to the contractors during those periods of time peaks up really high. So during a time where, we may, we want to be a little more conscious of cash flow, can we flatline those a little bit? Can we restructure or renegotiate and say, let's turn those into maybe, a 6-month payment plan or something? So there's definitely a lot of ways to do that. Definitely a lot of cuts.
Right. I think that with the, now let's maybe move on to maybe what we should be doing from a marketing perspective, because we are talking about the smaller number of people who've got money to spend, and that smaller number of people may have less money to spend, right? Or even if they have money to spend, they may be like everybody else worried, right? So it's like, so some people might have plenty of money, but like they're still like, we're cutting back.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So maybe you go through what are our products and services, which are the most essential versus the wants versus the needs. What do people really need out there in the market? Let's promote that. Make a list. Okay, here are our products, here are our services, here's our core offerings. What do people really need right now? Let's push that. Let's put more of our money and our effort into marketing those products and services versus the things that might be more splashy or things that maybe people can realistically pull back on if you have those.
Well, the crux of entrepreneurship is identifying pain points and finding unique solutions for them. So what is everybody's pain point in a recession? It is cash flow.
Yeah.
And if you are and from a business owner standpoint, it's important that we look and say, well, where do we sit? Where do we sit with our customers? Are we on the things that are going to be cut? Are we a necessity?
Yeah.
And they really can't, there's not much they can do without us? Or are we a nice to have and we have to kind of meet them at their pain point? So ways to structure that. Recessions, like anything, ebb and flow. We will come out of it. So we know that. So what's the end goal here? Well, the end goal here is we want to come out of it with as many customers as we started with.
Yeah.
And so if we find a way to, like you said, offer, meet them at their pain point with some discounts, offer a program that maybe they can sign with us for a longer period of time for a less amount. So it addresses the cash flow issue, but then we know we have them on the back end. We just re-upped our season tickets to the PC basketball, right? Go Friars. It can only be better from last year, right? The year before that, right? But we re-upped that, and one of the things that I noticed that kind of was interesting to me is they have this 3-year price lock. Now, the reality is that I'm not committed to 3 years. But what they did do is they say, if you re-up today, because most people, the basketball season doesn't start until, later, right? So most people are not thinking about basketball season when it ends. But they're like, if you re-up today, we lock you in for 3 years at the current rate. If you don't buy today, tomorrow, you're subject to new rates. It's a cash flow play, right? It's them. They need cash flow now, because if they don't get it in now, people aren't going to start paying them for months. So it's whether that is a recession-proofing, whether they think of it like that or not, that's a recession-proofing technique. Like finding a way to get money in the door now for future.
Yeah, and we can do that with products, which is why I brought up the subscription. The subscription or the stock up now play, especially at the beginning or before a downturn, it's coming.
Yep.
So people think, oh, if I get in now, when I'm struggling for money, at least I have my supply of X, that supplement I take every day.
Right.
Or maybe you're selling, a year's worth of the supplement.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? Where if you're going to the PC basketball games next year and they have you locked in, then what are you also doing?
Oh, buying food.
Right, exactly, right? So it's the same thing. Like if we can get you into our subscription, that means we're staying in touch with you. When you need the next thing, you're not shopping around for it. You're still our customer.
Right.
Right? If we can get you that 12-month supply of something, you have it all. It's visible, right? You are a customer.
Right.
So that's why I think the play is always not just during a downturn. The play is always invest in your current most valuable customers.
A great piggyback to this video is if you have not watched our subscription video yet, I dig into our channel, check out the video we did on subscription. It's one of our more viewed videos that we did on how to turn more of your customers into a subscription model, how to turn products and service into that and it's a great recession-proofing technique.
And the last bit is if you are doing, hopefully you've done this beforehand and you've really figured out your advertising costs, how much you're spending on advertising, what your return is. One thing that happens, especially if you're on digital advertising platforms, these are all auctions, right? All digital platforms are auctions. So if you're all bidding for customers, then the cost goes up. During downturns, we can predict with a lot of certainty that people are going to pull back. So advertising should be cheaper. So if we can get cheaper ads, we should be able to invest more at the same overall cost.
And can you take the same philosophy and can you lock in rates for cheaper advertising for longer periods of time because you're purchasing it at a time where the ad companies are experiencing
Well, certainly
pullback.
if you're on traditional broadcasts,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be able to negotiate. They're going to have more time to fill. You're going to be able to get out there. And the more visible you are, again, there's fewer people out there with money, fewer people advertising. We have to get in front of those people more, not less. So definitely take advantage of the lower cost advertising. Where can you find good value where your customers are at, but also where can you find good value in that it's cheaper. It's just cheaper. Like, where can I find it? What can I do? Where can I invest right now? Because I think that getting a hold of that smaller pool of customers is critical. There's fewer of them. We got to get in front of them more. We have to offer them products and services they need.
Market smarter.
I think so.
Be smarter.
Sure. Yeah.
What else for today?
I think we can go ahead and try and maybe wrap up here with a couple of things. So during a downturn, right? During this inevitable downturn, it's never that, right? There's always, as you would say, ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows.
Right? So we're on a downturn. Couple quick notes here, things that you can do right now. During a good time, we are getting a hold of a good line of credit and establishing a pile of cash.
Yep.
Right, for reserve.
Yep.
As the downturn comes, we're making more investments in our current customers, VIP discounts, loyalty programs. What can we do to make sure that they're in, or make sure that we appeal to the fact that we get their pain point, which is this downturn's coming. Market smarter, not harder, right? Work on the products and services that are essential now. Find value in the cheaper ad space. Where can I get cheaper ads, whether it's digital or whether it's broadcast? Broadcasts are probably going to be giving away stuff, radio spots, television spots, traditional print spots. Those are going to be cheaper. Find those absolutely. Stay as visible as you possibly can, because there's going to be less of you competing for the same small pool of customers. But I think that these are all things that companies, small businesses should be doing in preparation for and during the downturn.
Yes. Scared money don't make no money.
Scared money don't make no money.
Good stuff. I'm Brian Lafauci.
Patrick Marino.
Till next time.
Thank you.